What's up, folks, and welcome to a segment I'm probably going to start calling Odd's Bad Spending Habits. I'm Odd, by the way. So, the aughts were a weird period to grow up in. The early 2000s, I was probably a very small child during this period, but I did exist then. The internet was obviously pretty well established and stuff like that, and the sense of instant gratification was starting to settle in. But shopping online was still kind of shady, like Amazon hadn't become the weird corporate monolith that it is now. So this, like, the 90s style infomercials were definitely, like, still everywhere. And now usually had some sort of, like, safe website that you could buy things through or something like that, along with the phone number that you could call, plus shipping and handling and all that. I remember particularly there being a bombardment of them. I mean, obviously I was watching cartoons at the time, but on kids' networks for toys. These as seen on TV toys. You got the big ones like Pillow Pets, Tech Decks, although I think they sold those in toy stores, the Fushigi, usually stuff that a lot of the cool kids got right away from their grandparents and made you jealous with. The one that actually stuck with me from that lineup was a toy line called Doodle Bears. Being a Chad Stuffy enjoyer and a creative person, especially as a kid, I was fascinated by them, but I never really got one. Wasn't on the cards. The reason that this came to mind is because I recently redesigned a character who I had made inspired by these bears called Doodle. No surprise. But she's a dog. And the idea of this character is that they're able to draw on themselves, to express themselves and stuff like that. But when I visited this character after seeing them in the dark recesses of my storage files, it kind of sparked this interest in them again. And I am recording, baby love. Anyway, redesigning this character made me start thinking about these again, and as an adult able to make bad financial choices of my own now, I went to go see what became of them and hopefully, snag one, maybe on eBay or something like that, and it looks like they still exist on Amazon. Okay, here's a new one. It is a 25th anniversary bear? These things are 25? Okay, so apparently these things are 2 years older than me, and they came out in the 90s. They at least were created in the 90s, and have changed hands quite a few times. So they're mainly produced and were invented by the Ed Kaplan Associates Company, but they've been bought and sold as a concept between manufacturers for a couple of years. First one was Tyco, then Mattel, the creator of Barbie, Playlong, Fisher-Price, and now currently Tommy? That toy company. I'm gonna say Tommy. The 25th anniversary bear was released at the beginning of 2020. Now I think that my bombardment of commercials came from Playlong. That was the company that acquired them in the early 2000s to, like, 2010s. And they were the ones that kind of came out with all the new versions. They were dolls, they were different animals other than bears. And apparently, like, with this and the constant advertisement that was going on in this time, this is the era that they just exploded for the first time. They created a new line of these bears, or I guess doodle creatures. And the only one that I was able to find just kind of directly by itself, the only one that they seem to be selling on their website is this unicorn one, because the special edition bear came out in 2020, which was already 2 years ago. It is way too pricey, but I did get the unicorn and something else, so let's go to the real world and live some dreams. Welcome to my desk. I got it all nice and clean for you. So, I did get the original Doodle Bear. That being said, I obviously got a unicorn. That was because this is the only kind that I could find on Amazon. So this seems to be one of the new ones, and I got it for like 20 something. It's quite big for a plushie. It also, the decorate, animate, share, along with the Doodle Wash Doodle again. So it looks like there's actually an app. Maybe I could check that out. Quick little confessional from Future Odd. I wasn't able to get the app. I have a very old iOS phone, and I'm not sure if it's not available on the Apple Store, not available at all, or if my phone is just too old for it. Regardless, it seems like a fairly simplistic app where you're able to just take pictures of your doodle bear or doodle creature and then send it off as like an emoji or something. So fairly simple, but it seems cute. The unicorn bear itself seems to come with the bear, or the plushie, and these markers, which are 5 flag colors. Then, I didn't just get this one though. Couldn't just get that one. I got the Crayola version. To focus. Crayola version. It's a dog. I both got this because I thought it'd be interesting to compare 2 different companies, and because this one actually reminded me of my character Doodle. So I figured that I would pick this one up too, you know. I will mention right off the bat, put both of them up here. They're about the same size, and they're about the same, they're almost exactly the same texture. It seems like sort of a sports material. So like, think like, I guess like a sweat wicking kind of shirt, you know, like that almost basketball short quality, almost like, I don't know, I wore a shirt for work that I kind of hated with that. It definitely sweat wicked because it stunk. But that is making me wonder if that's probably the washable quality of these. Let's get these guys out of the box and get a closer look at them. I'll open the unicorn first. So she doesn't stand. She doesn't stand. Oh, does she? No, she's too top heavy because her legs are too floppy, but she's cute. And it looks like this has embroidery, which is nice, and then the inset eyes, which I'm assuming you can't draw on. And then of course these little beautiful frills of hair here, which look kind of goofy, honestly. But, you know, I won't complain. And then we take out the markers. Goodbye box. So it comes with, like I said before, 5 flag markers. So very whimsical colors for rather feminine unicorn friend here. And I will get the dog out. It's interesting because I feel like the doodle bears themselves are rarely white, like when I've seen other pictures of them. They mostly come in like a jersey color and like pink and purple. Oh. This dude is restrained by little loops around his feet. I might need to get scissors. I can't get the bottom open. So yeah, he's got string ties, as opposed to the doodle bear that seem to just have little plastic things. I wonder if it has something to do with the way that they're sold, because I think doodle bears were exclusively like an online thing. I don't think I ever saw them on shelves, because they were supposed to be that as seen on TV, like not available in stores sort of advertisement. It also says that this guy works with tape. All washable Crayola markers. So it's got these ultra washable markers here with the dog in a couple of colors. No green, surprisingly, even though that seems to be their main color on the dog here. Green and blue, unless they're behind. Can't see them. Yeah, so it looks like it just comes with these 4 markers, and it comes with two big ones and then 2 small ones. So those are the markers that comes with. It's got a pink, a purple, an orange, and a blue. Do these have like unique colors? Oh yeah. This one's Blue Lagoon. This one's just orange. That's Violet Purple, which feels like a tautology. Oh, never mind. It's in quotations. Like, yeah, this is also called purple. And Winkin' Pink. It's the only really unique one, and it's got little winky fellows on it. Do these have names? I wonder. You gonna focus? The answer is no. But these are the original. Get in there. The original doodle markers. just like the box set, the original Doodle Bear. I think because there have been competing brands like Crayola coming at it. And I will say, I guess right off the bat, I'll take this tag off right here. I kind of like the expression on this character a little bit more. You can see that like all of the features are embroidered, and they got the inset eyes and stuff like that. And then we've got this character. I'm gonna free their ears. There we go. Our little friend is free with his ears. So, or with their ears. So yeah, this dog at the same time has, focus, there you go, has just printed features, which I guess might be better for an animal that's going to be in the wash a lot, but I have a feeling that these, like, they're okay quality. They look a little bit more high quality on camera, but honestly, like, looking at them directly, they're almost kind of faded already. Also, these, like, little blushies below the eyes kind of make it look like it's just got bags under its eyes. It is adorable, though. Like, I'm not ragging on my new friend here, but it's kind of funny that, to me, that it looks like that. But at the same time, they're both the same, about the same material. I actually kind of like how, so you can see, if the camera focuses, focus, you can see that the Doodle Unicorn Bear has these little designs all over their body, except for maybe the snout, I suppose, and the hooves. Although one of the hooves does have an embroidered little Doodle Bear on it, I think maybe for brand recognition. They all have these little Doodle Bears on their feet. But otherwise, yeah. Because here, they both got very similarly shaped bodies too. They're both kind of little beans. Although the dog does actually sit up, whereas the unicorn is kind of floppity. Which is, you know, great for a small child anyway, because they're gonna probably gonna be moving around a lot with it. And the hair looks fun when it moves around. Go, pony, go! And the only moving parts on the dog are, of course, the floppity ears that needed to be released upon unpackaging, and the tail, which is 2D, and honestly not as high quality as the tails and not, or the ears, and not stuffed, which is unfortunate. It's just kind of a. It's interesting to me because it feels like in a lot of other markets, Crayola is the. It's like I'm talking with the dog. Crayola is the main manufacturer when it comes to kids' art supplies. However, when they are competing in other markets, like, let's say, Doodle Bears, they tend to be kind of low quality. Like, not super low quality, but definitely like the off-brand version of things. I've seen a lot of Crayola knockoffs, I would say, of other sort of creative kits like this. So I am curious as to how this little guy is going to fare in the wash versus the Doodle Bear. Although they are like the exact same material. Like, it is no question at all. They're the same kind of like polyester, shiny, plasticky material. You know? Does that make sense? Is anything I'm saying making sense? Is anything even real? So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go and grab some more Crayolas, and I'm gonna do 2 experiments. I'm going to see if the doodle markers work and work on this guy. And I'm gonna see if the washable Crayola markers, which are also water-based, will work on this guy. So I will be right back, and this part will most likely be a time lapse. I'll show you what I've done when they're done. Yeah? Cool? Good. Okay, quick update. I don't have that many, it seems like Crayola style water-based markers. What I do have, however, are a couple of these mild liner water-based markers, which I feel like the reason that a lot of these are water-soluble is because they're water-based. So I'm hoping, let me double check, it doesn't really say, pretty sure that these are water-based. So I'm gonna go in, and if I need to use these I will, but I'll try and avoid them as much as I can. They're also not very like pigmented, which could go in their favor or against them. I'm not totally sure, but I'll be back. So I started out with the dog, again with my OC Doodle in mind. Gave it some hair, gave it a little bit of the doodle on the cheeks, like from Doodle's references, basically showing who it was. Drew all over the face, gave it a mustache, your common, you know, sort of graffiti-esque drawings on it. And then I went in with the blue and decided that I was going to go for one of the other aspects of Doodle's reference sheet that I liked, which was them in a suit with like business written on their arms because they mean business, but they had like just drawn a suit on themselves. So I thought that that was perfect, and it covered a lot of surface area. Obviously, the Doodle Bear markers didn't necessarily 100% like that. They're not bad. They are not bad water-based markers. I didn't see any difference between them and the Crayolas when coloring on either animal throughout this whole process, I will say. I did learn that the Crayola one, when it came with that, was it the smiley face red? that red was just a stamp with smiley faces on it. So I think I wound up putting that on the dog's paws, like little paw pads, the ones that weren't embroidered on the bottom. That was an interesting feat to discover. Otherwise, just a bunch of different drawings. I think I filled in one of the stencils, actually, you know, like you're kind of supposed to do. They don't show up as well, like if you color over them. So that's a good thing to note, is that this, like, you know, they don't like show through or anything like that. So you can color over them. They're just kind of recommendations, I think, for what it's supposed to look like. And if you color around them, then of course they won't, you know, like show up. So in that case, you can just have free reign, you know. I think that the lines are just for those who aren't quite sure what to do with themselves. I also, for both characters, this one I did it on the dog's back of their head, drew a rainbow in all the different colors to see if there was a particular color that stood out. I will say it was only in the green for these that I used my zebra markers, and that's probably going to be an important point for later. But moving on to the unicorn, and this is where my camera cut out at some point. I'm not totally sure when, but it stopped recording for a bit. It should be fine. Not too detrimental, I don't think. But I decided to go for a bit more of a feminine look with this one because obviously the character's meant to look, I guess, a little bit more feminine. Or at least I started out with a feminine look. Because I colored in the cheeks kind of rosy, so, you know, our unicorn friend wouldn't miss out on the weird blush moment. Did a little heart on the nose area, colored in the horn, all different types of rainbow colors. And then I went in and decided to do some makeup on our unicorn friend, just around her eyes. I gave her some lovely eyeshadow and, you know, nice blue eyeliner. It's I think an orange underline. Is it too much? You can tell her if it's too much. She promises she won't get mad. You can tell her if it's too much. Beside that, I decided, you know, it's a unicorn. Why not give her like a little bit of like a cutie mark or something like that, My Little Pony style. Gave her a guitar, which inspired me to go up and, or maybe it was the other way around. Regardless, I wound up giving her a punk rock mohawk as well in a bunch of different colors to accentuate the other end of her mane. And colored in all of her hooves differently, and now she was starting to look a bit more like alternative. I think I also colored in her ears at one point, and after that, kind of left it there. So let's go back to real-time odd. Okay, it is now a few hours later and a fully charged camera battery. This is not really made that well for filming, but regardless, I have colored the whole, really, or majority, I should say, of the doodle critters. You can see, actually, there's a little bit of smudging going on here. A couple of, like, colors really blending together, especially as the hours have gone by. Like, this blush and the little kiss marks that I've drawn on the unicorn have faded down to quite the, like, muted pink The rainbow is almost totally not visible. Well, it is visible on the camera, but it isn't really in real life. It's kind of washed out. Everything really is a little bit by comparison to when I drew it, which I guess makes sense as it draws, and maybe like another layer, like you can see I made the unicorn, a Pegasus or an alicorn in my spare time here as well. But yeah, you can see, I guess, where like I didn't really soak in a lot of marker, that it does kind of already start to fade. So I'm curious actually what the more like heavily saturated parts are gonna look like. The same is to be said for my little dog friend here. Some of the stuff has faded. You can see, especially, I think this purple is the Crayola marker, right, that came with it, and this might be the Doodle Bear marker, and this is faded a little bit more substantially than this one has. They're about the same in terms of quality, but it feels like, I don't know, because then down here, I really forgot what markers I used on this guy. I really should have been more aware, but there's a little bit less fading on the white dog. You can definitely see that, I think, throughout the thing, which is interesting. Which also makes me wonder whether or not they're going to clean up as well as the Doodle Bear. So I'm really curious overall. Maybe the color's just showing up better because this is white. The markers didn't necessarily show up poorly on this as I was drawing, but like I said, in the certain areas that just starts like fading. Mainly like reds and pinks, it feels like. So yeah, it is late. So I'm gonna get some sleep, and then I'm gonna throw these guys into the washer in the morning, and I will get back to you with those results later. Welcome to the basement. So I'm going to, despite the fact that there weren't really any washing instructions on these guys, either of them, actually. Let me see. Actually, is there anything on the tag? Oh, okay. Machine wash and pillowcase. Okay. So that was what I was going to do anyway, because I know that these are stuffed animals, and stuffed animals tend to be washed in pillowcases if you're going to throw them into the wash. So I'm going to throw them into a pillowcase that needs to be washed anyway, and then I will take them out and figure out whether or not they're going to be demarkified. This part always feels so wrong. Get in the pillowcase. Get in the pillowcase. Okay, first passed around in the wash. Looks like for the most part, these did their job. A couple of areas it's really hard to see on camera. Get up in there, little unicorn. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so some of the blue that I kind of overdrew here, you can see is still a little bit there, but it's not even like reminiscent of what it was before. Definitely just, for the most part, completely clean, you know? And this one at least did have something on the tag that said to pass through multiple times in the washer if needed. And there are some, oh well, there were some. I wouldn't have cleaned this one up on the arm. So there were, I can see it a little bit there. There were some blue marks on the inside of the arms initially when I pulled Puppy out. I was able to actually get at those with some, just like a washcloth or actually paper towel with some damp water on it. The only thing on both that really stuck around, and not even very much of that, was the green part of the rainbows, and that is because that is where I used my zebra markers and it obviously didn't turn out very well. These still look washable, like they look like something that could probably be washed off if I just kind of went at them with some elbow grease. Kitty! Not necessarily as washable as the other washable markers, and that is for good reason that they didn't say washable. But I just figured because they seem to be water-based that maybe they would wash off a bit better. That was my bad. They'll come off. I'm sure they will. This guy's head's a little damp, and it's picking up somehow the miraculous amount of dust and dirt that has found itself onto my desk. I just cleaned this. I do think that things like blues, like dark blues and blacks might be kind of a two-wash sort of job because they're blue-based, and blue was one of the things that did seem to stick around a little bit. on both of these characters. I think that's just because it's a very prominent pigment. Ironically, I did not have a black marker. You know, it's always the first one to go, so I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I would say that these two are practically identical in quality. What's funny is it seems like the original Doodle Bear, when I went onto the website, looked a lot more like the puppy here, in that, like, they had the printed eyes. So the unicorn is this weird new addition almost. They showed a bear on there that was basically the same as this with the inset eyes, but they also showed an example of the Doodle Bears that had them with printed eyes like this. And I feel like both forms make sense, although these were the same price point, so I guess in terms of quality, I would probably give the original with its embroidered features and pretty eyes and stuff like that, and these little extra bits, you know, a bit of a higher rating on that degree than our Crayola friend, but they're practically identical. Let's see if I can get the rest of this green off. Oh, and there's a little bit of blue hanging behind here too. Just go in with a wet paper towel that I already had with me. You can see the color kind of disperses and then, what's on here? But yeah, it kind of floods and disperses into the fabric and then it just kind of wipes right off. It is not hard to get these smaller spaces just completely cleaned up afterward, so definitely not a big deal. Except for Odd, who's a little dumb and used the wrong markers. Definitely doesn't want to disperse as easily. I've been working on this right side, trying to see if I could get it to go away with water and alcohol. It has been fading slowly. It's not going to come off within the period of time that I have my camera up. I will try harder later. It's not that big of a deal much anyway, because they're pretty faded. And I expect these stuffies to get quite kind of faded, sort of dirty, just like gradually stained over time anyway, you know? And it can be easily covered up with further drawing excursions. Like, that's what they're for, you know? Does what it says on the tin, though. Got so ahead of myself trying to figure out how to edit this that I nearly forgot to make a conclusion. So this is obviously a lot of fun. I'm not sure whether or not you would refer to this as some sort of review, or really just turned out being kind of an excuse to get these plushies and draw on them. I will say, when it comes to like drawing on them myself, I did kind of have some expectations. I was hoping to do something kind of cool, but the medium itself is just kind of weird to work with. Like, the main holdup that I had was the texture and the shape, sort of, about the toys. There's just something about it that makes it hard to manipulate, you know? So yeah, I wanted to try and do some cooler designs. I just think that I just didn't give myself enough time, and like my camera and stuff like that wasn't, you know, regardless, I need to get better at doing it. It's just gonna take some practice. I mean, it's water-based markers on a children's toy, but I wanted to be able to doodle something cool, and I did go back and actually kind of draw on them again, and it's an interesting creative process, I think, with these sort of toys, because it's like simultaneously it's a canvas, but it's also kind of like a crash course in character design. It's like, yeah, you can make a bunch of cool doodles on this and it'll look cool, or you could make a character out of it by like placing specific patterns somewhere or something like that, right? And as I was doing that and kind of, you know, working on putting this video together, I did spend a little bit more time with the plushies, and I had this kind of feeling of like, okay, I should make the dog a different character from Doodle because she doesn't totally look like Doodle. So instead, the dog's name is Pasta, and she's Doodle's sister. And the unicorn I decided to call Marzipan. When those names came to me, I was like, perfect. I guess I was a little hungry when I decided my naming conventions, because they both turned out being named after food, but it works with the theme, and they're super cute, just like hanging out together, they're besties. So yeah, no need to worry about any neglect toward these stuffies. I think that I'm probably going to forget to use them every once in a while, but I think I will be more interested in them. I don't know, there's a difference between something that is customizable and something like this that's instantly customizable. It's like once you get over that hill, once you get over that stop, that you're like, yeah, this is kind of, you know, this is gonna stick around until I wash these. But also you can just wash them off with water. They're gonna be damp for a couple of hours, but you can. It's not impossible. I did it with pasta. But yeah, maybe sometime in the future I'll get good and record some more intricate designs for you guys. Until then, I hope that you enjoyed this video, whatever one would consider it, a dissertation on doodle bears. And until then, I'll see y'all next time.